Sophia raised her glass in a poignant toast to her father's memory, the liquor searing her throat like a passionate embrace. Alcohol had become her soul's solace, the only balm that could temporarily numb the anguish threatening to consume her. Having never known her mother, who sacrificed her life in giving birth to Sophia, her father, Robert Maxwell, had been her everything. His death left a void that seemed impossible to fill, especially now that she was surrounded by stepmother and stepsister, who harbored deep-seated animosity towards her. Sophia's life, once filled with purpose and love, had descended into chaos and despair. Meanwhile, Victoria, her stepmother, smiled devilishly from the other end of the room as she sipped her drink slowly, watching Sophia like a predator eyeing its prey. Her eyes gleamed with an unsettling intensity that made Sophia's skin crawl, sending shivers down her spine like thousands of ants marching in line. Something was up, but Sophia couldn't quite wrap her head around it, her mind clouded by too much alcohol, making her words slur into gibberish. She took another sip, the familiar warmth spreading through her chest like a comforting hug. But this drink tasted different. Tonight, something was off. The room seemed to spin faster, the music louder, and then her eyes met her stepmother's once more. Victoria's eyes gleamed with a sinister light that made Sophia's heart race. Why was Victoria looking at her like that? What was this devious woman up to? Sophia's heels clicked on the hardwood floor, an annoying sound that seemed to pierce through the fog in her brain. She held her glass of red wine tightly, her grip like a lifeline. Victoria approached, her smile widening into a malicious grin as she handed Sophia another glass of wine. "Come on, Sophia. Just one more drink," Victoria coaxed, her voice sweet as poison, her words dripping with malice. Sophia raised her glass, the liquor blurring her vision like a veil of tears. "I already have mine." "I don't want to, Victoria. I think I've had enough for today, stepmother. I really should go." "Nonsense, child. This red wine is a special brand, a masterpiece from the rolling hills of Tuscany," Victoria declared, her voice dripping with persuasion as she held out the glass, its crimson liquid glowing like a tantalizing secret in the dim light. Sophia hesitated, her instincts screaming warning signals as the aroma of oak and blackberries wafted up, enticing her senses. "I don't know, Victoria. I think I've already had too much to drink." Sweat formed on her forehead as Victoria's eyes locked onto hers, their green depths glinting like a cat's in the dark. Victoria's smile was a slow, sultry curve of her lips, a velvet-wrapped trap that seemed to whisper sweet nothings in Sophia's ear. "Oh, come on, Sophia. Just one sip. It's your father's memorial after all. We must toast his memory to the legacy he left behind." Her voice was a gentle caress, a soft breeze on a summer's day, but beneath it, Sophia detected a still-like determination that made her skin crawl. Victoria's fingers brushed against hers, pushing the glass closer. "I don't want to, Victoria. Really? The words stuck in her throat like a physical obstruction, as if her body was rebelling against her brain's warnings. Victoria's grip tightened, her nails digging into Sophia's skin like talons. "Sophia, dear, don't be silly. One little sip won't hurt you. It's a special vintage imported from France, a taste of the finer things in life." But Sophia's heart raced like a wild animal trapped in a cage, her senses screaming at her to flee, to escape the snare Victoria had set. Sophia tossed back the wine with reckless abandon, the glass draining at one swift motion, the liquid fire coursing down her throat. Her eyes widened as the room began to spin, her senses blurring into a hazy surrender. She tried to stand, but her legs felt like lead, her body swaying unsteadily like a leaf in the wind. What's going on? Why can't I? She slurred, her words trailing off like a lost whisper. Victoria's laughter was like a knife twisting in her heart, her voice echoing off the walls like a cold, cruel taunt. "Shh, Sophia, just relax," she whispered, her breath cold against Sophia's ear like a winter breeze. Then the room spun faster, and Sophia stumbled, strong arms catching her, pulling her close like a vice. "Don't worry, I've got you," a voice whispered in her ear. But Sophia couldn't tell who it was, her mind foggy like a stormy night. She tried to push away, but her body felt heavy, unresponsive like a dead weight. She took another shot and another, until she couldn't shout anymore, her voice lost in a sea of darkness. Not only was she out of control, but she was also unable to comprehend what was happening around her like a lost child in a maze. "Sophia, dear, I want you to do a little something for me. Come sign these papers," Victoria said, her voice dripping with honey like a sweet poison. It was clear she was here for a mission, and that mission was for Sophia to sign some goddamn papers. "It's just a little something to secure your future," Victoria added, still trying to convince Sophia. Sophia hesitated, her mind foggy like a misty morning. What papers? What future was Victoria talking about? What was happening? What on earth did Victoria put in that drink? But as she was about to leave, feeling nauseous from the oppressive atmosphere, Victoria's grip on her arm was firm, her fingers digging into her skin like talons, her eyes glinting with a sinister light. "You were not going anywhere until you signed these papers," Victoria yelled, dragging her forcefully and pushing her into a chair. Sophia tried to pull away, but Victoria held tight. "Let go of my hands, Victoria. What papers are these?" Sophia yelled, trying to wrap her head around everything happening like a puzzle with missing pieces. But Victoria didn't answer. She only gave her a devilish smirk and said, "Just sign, you rat! I mean, just sign the papers, dear. It will all be yours. Just take the pen and sign. That's it. That's all you have to do for me. Then you can go," Victoria whispered, her breath cold against Sophia's ear like a winter breeze. Sophia attempted to resist, but her body felt heavy, unresponsive like a dead weight. Her hand trembled as she reached for the pen, her eyes struggling to focus on the documents, or like a blurry mirror. The words blurred together, but Victoria's voice was clear as ice. "Sign, Sophia. Sign, stop struggling. You're making it harder for both of us." Sophia was already tired of hearing her stepmother's irritating voice. It made her head hurt. "Fine, I will sign the stupid papers. Just don't talk to me with your fishy breath." She grabbed the pen and scribbled her signature, the pen scratching against the paper like a scream in the night. Victoria's smile widened, her eyes gleaming with triumph, like a hunter with its prey. Finally, she had gotten what she came for. Sophia felt a chill run down her spine as she realized something was wrong. But she was too drunk to understand what was happening. Like a lost child in a storm, the room spun faster, and Sophia felt herself being lifted away to a place she didn't know. Like a leaf on a windy day, everything went black, like a dark curtain falling. The next morning, Sophia slowly opened her eyes, her body aching like a sore muscle. The sunlight crept across her tired face like a warm caress, but her mind was a complete blank, like a white canvas. A pounding headache, intensified her desperation for painkillers, like a drumbeat in her head. She gradually opened her eyes again, only to shut them instantly. The light was too harsh, like a bright sun. When she finally managed to keep them open, she found herself in an unfamiliar room, like a lost traveller in a strange land. Panic set in as Sophia scrambled to remember how she got there, like a puzzle with missing pieces. Why was she naked? Every attempt to think triggered a sharp pain in her head, like a knife twisting in her brain. Fragments of memories resurfaced little by little. The party for her father's memorial, Victoria's conversation, and her persistent offers of a drink. Sophia had refused, but Victoria forced her to drink anyway like a cruel master. Then she signed some papers without even reading them, like a blind fool signing away her soul. The realization sent a chill down her spine, like a cold wind. What had she done? As Sophia struggled to stand, a searing pain between her legs made her wince, like a wounded animal. Why was she feeling sore? What had happened to her? She tried to push herself out of bed, then saw a crimson stain. The bedsheet was stained with blood, and she felt a wave of fear wash over her, like a tsunami. What happened? She whispered, her voice shaking like a leaf, as she tried to wrap her mind around what was happening. Was she raped? How could that have happened? Sophia stumbled out of bed, her legs trembling beneath her like a newborn fawn. The room spun, and she grasped the bedside table to steady herself, like a sailor clinging to a mast. Her eyes scanned the unfamiliar space, searching for clues, like a detective investigating a crime scene. A dresser, a chair, a closet. Everything seemed ordinary yet ominous, like a snake hiding in the grass. Sophia spotted a door and staggered toward it, hoping to find a way out, like a prisoner seeking freedom. But it was locked, and the sickening feeling settled in her gut like a heavy weight. She was trapped, like a bird in a cage. Damn it! Where the hell is the keys to this room? She yelled, frustration bubbling over in a desperate cry. Frantically, Sophia searched for a key or a phone, but there was none, like a desert without an oasis. The room was eerily silent, except for the sound of her own ragged breathing, like a dying man's last gasps. That was when she saw it. A small camera in the corner, its lens fixed on her like a cold, dead eye. A chill ran down her spine like a winter breeze, and Sophia knew she was in grave danger, like a lamb led to the slaughter.